This episode is brought to you by
Community Bank.
Community Bank.
Yeah.
They have personal and business banking along with mortgages.
They do what?
One of the fastest growing financial institutions in the state.
What?
Started over 100 years ago in a small timber community with more than $4.3 billion in assets, 50 plus offices, 850 staff owners, and over 4 states.
That's a lot.
Well, actually, just 4. They're in 4 states.
That's a big community.
I get it.
Okay.
We focus on building and expanding relationships and are truly committed to our clients' success, and they are loyal back. And we also want to shout out to Kobe Palmer.
Yeah. Shout out to Kobe.
Look, all the clients are unique, so you got to take a consultative approach. Kobe does that. You call up Kobe, you go, I want to buy 7 jet skis. And he goes, well, for what? And then I say, don't worry about it. I just need the loan.
Yeah.
And then he probably actually talks me off the ledge and goes like, hey, man, that's just like, why would you need 7 jet skis? But he knows that I'm kind of crazy like that, and he'll talk me down like that.
Yeah, and you got to respect the drip. Check out his socks. Look at his socks. Make sure, if they're normal-looking socks, you're like, I don't know.
We're big community bank guys. Everyone knows it. We love the ads too. Jeff, you're a shining star. We want to remind you to check out our website, theharderstreetboys.com. You can support us on Patreon for $3 a month. You get early access to episodes, $5 a month behind-the-scenes footage. We're about to release the full Mississippi Shakedown performance in front of a live studio audience.
Say what?
They are back, baby, and
Shakedown.
It's beautiful. Also, you can like us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, totally free. Just takes an email address and less than 5 minutes of your time. It's the best way to keep the show going. We appreciate those of you who have already done so. This episode is huge. Who do we have today, Jamie?
Oh, my. We have local celebrity chef.
Let's go.
Katie Dixon in the house.
Chef Katie Dixon, Food Network star. She's on MasterChef, the Food Network star show. She just opened a new location at Crossgate Family Fitness.
Yeah.
She's got a book out. Her website's super clean. She's like really inspiring, actually, and I'm super excited to have her.
I can't wait. So,
let's just get to it then.
Let's go.
The hottest street boys, hottest street boys, hottest street boys. It's the hottest street boys.
Like and subscribe. Lincoln Road lads.
Lincoln Road. That's a tongue.
That's hard to say.
Yeah.
Bro, how was your week?
Man, it was pleasant, man. Had some rehearsals with the Pine Belt Pickers. We're getting ready for Hub Fest this weekend.
It's Hub Fest.
Yeah.
In a couple of days.
Here we go.
Let's go.
So we're going to play down at the Grill and Grocery from like 2 till 5. So that'll be cool.
I love that the Grill and Grocery's back.
Yeah. Dude, it feels amazing in there. And it's also like it's a great spot for local live music. So, friends of the show, Stephen Wade Scott and Francis are doing Wednesday night open mics there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
a lot of good times to be had.
Yeah, we love live music and we don't care who knows it.
Yeah, I don't care who knows it.
Why would I keep that a secret? It
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Shh, don't tell nobody.
But yeah, it's great that they're doing that. So y'all are playing at Grill and Grocery. Hubfest is huge. Lainey Wilson's headlining.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big deal.
There's a lot of cool music and a lot of vendors. It's just a great day. My brother and my nephew are coming down from Memphis to visit, so
yes,
they like to make it down for Hubfest.
This is the other Drew.
It's been a while. Yeah, the other Drew.
Yeah, me and him, we're going to have to be like, look, he's my podcast brother.
I don't call him Drew, though.
No, what do you call your brother?
I call him Andrew.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know this, but that's where the name Drew comes from.
Yeah, and I know that's
I'm technically Andrew as well.
I get it.
I get like what you're saying though. Like,
yeah.
You don't actually. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't call you Andrew.
So you know why?
Why?
Because my mother and my grandmother call me Andrew, and no one else.
Okay.
It's not allowed.
I will say that you were once in my phone as Andrew Wooton, and I was like, okay, I got to change this. This is just getting too confusing.
Because I put Andrew on Facebook to see who really knew me. And if you call me Andrew, you just know me from Facebook, dude.
Okay.
But you know me better than that, anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're coming into town.
Yes. All kinds of festivities, fun times to be had.
Hubfest is always exciting. I'm just happy we get to have it. We haven't had it in, I know not last year, but it's been 2 years now, no Hubfest.
Yep.
So there's been a 2-year gap, so super excited about doing that. That's always a fun time. It's crazy to see how many people are in the surrounding areas.
For sure.
In Hattiesburg. And
definitely.
So real excited about that. We had I kind of had a chill week this past week.
Tell me about your week.
I was on spring break. Man, I loved our episode last week with Carl Reynolds.
Carl, man.
Getting to talk soccer. Had so many people reach out and say that they liked it. Actually, old buddy of mine, Reese Barden, who coaches soccer in Texas. It's like, man, this guy, like, who is this guy?
He's the
This
coach,
guy's,
man.
You know, so
He's
awesome.
young. He's got it going on, man.
Man, Southern States, you know, they had that game. You know, at time of recording, it's supposed to be Tuesday. I know we're having weather issues coming up, so it might be Wednesday. But playing U.S. Open Cup against a team from Georgia.
Out of Georgia.
Yeah, so that's something to watch out for and something to do, especially in the spring and summer.
Yeah.
You know, when there's no other sports to watch or get into, you can go check that out.
Yeah, their facility, man, top notch. Like nothing I've ever seen before.
The fact that that's in Hattiesburg is just nuts.
Yeah, people need to check that out if they haven't already. So
yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the game, and then I'll probably go out to eat. You know, I went out to eat this week. Went to Crescent City.
yeah,
I had it's the shrimp. I want to say it's not Diablo shrimp. It's this fried shrimp wrapped in bacon.
yeah,
Right, with andouille sausage and rice.
yeah.
And if you can eat the whole plate, you're basically a competitive eater.
That's awesome.
It's super rich.
That sounds like a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
I barely made a dent in it. So
I actually went to Crescent City and I had the Zydeco chicken,
yeah,
which is like a marinated and grilled chicken breast with like maybe some cream sauce on it and some sausage and stuff like that. And then I get the Brussels sprouts because, as everyone knows,
right,
huge Brussels sprout person.
right. And like if people say that you're not into Brussels sprouts, like it really infuriates you.
Yeah,
'Cause-
we talked about that. Like if people come up to me like, I don't believe you're into Brussels sprouts. Ooh.
Yeah, I had an old fashioned up there too. I really do think the old fashioned game in Midtown is killing.
Yeah.
I think they probably had the best old fashioned up at it's really the Hog. It
Yeah.
gets kind of confusing sometimes because I will go up to, like, if you go to Crescent City, you got to wait. You can just go to the Hog. You know, they've had live music. Saw a
Yeah.
guy playing sax the other night.
Yeah.
Our friend Charles Carter,
CC.
the one man show, not a band.
One man show.
One man show was playing out in the courtyard up there. So it's cool. You can kind of go to the Hog and wait and have a drink while you're waiting on your table, and then
Yeah, I feel like, I've been going to the Hog a little bit so much and getting recognized that they're like, can I get you an old fashioned? Like, I was like, oh man, like, I don't, they're just like, they already know. It makes it a lot easier for me. I'm like,
Bruh.
yeah. all
Cool
right.
Hand Luke is always
Yeah.
he's always ready, man. He's
Yeah.
always ready with a good drink. So yeah, man, I did that. That was fun. We went to Ed's too and tried to see if the Lucky Charms shake would actually repel
I tried it, man.
snakes. I don't think that's a effective repellent.
Well,
Maybe it only works in Ireland. Maybe that's
possibly. Maybe those snakes are just like very skittish, and they're just like,
Right.
But
what's a Lucky Charm shake? I'm
yeah,
freaked
exactly.
out.
Like,
Yeah, I hadn't
exactly.
seen that. So we did that, man. That's fun going up there too. After we posted that reel,
Yeah.
and then people just kind of going like, "Oh, they're ordering the shake,"
Yeah,
It was-
exactly.
It was funny, man.
Those were actually, I had the shake. It was delicious.
It was.
Magically delicious.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
I get it. And then you went to New Orleans too. Went and saw
Man.
some of the Chiefs at Super Sunday. What was that like?
Dude, New Orleans was a blast. It was a fun weekend, the beautiful weather. It's always nice to get away. I know there was some stuff going on here, and I hate I missed all that. But, man, New Orleans is just a fun time sometimes, especially this time of year when the weather's beautiful. Had some crawfish, ate some Brussels sprouts there. That's TMI. But, no, I played in the disc golf tournament, and then on Sunday, it's a big this time of year is what they call Super Sunday. And all the Mardi Gras Indians take to the street. It's a big spectacle. I mean, so many people are out there getting pictures and stuff. I mean, it's definitely a sight to see. It's so cool. There's a lot of food vendors and people just selling drinks. I mean, it's like a big block party.
Yeah.
And like you say, you get to see all the Mardi Gras Indians dressed up in their full garb.
Yeah.
The colors, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And when the weather was as nice as it was, nothing better. I think I try to tell everybody, you should check out Super Sunday one time in your life. Just go.
Yeah. It's
You
like
know?
a cultural event.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So where is it in New Orleans?
It's at this park kind of in mid-city area called A.L. Davis Park. It's so, I don't know, it's New Orleans, man. It's got that flavor, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
You heard me? You heard me?
baby.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Heck yeah, man. That's
Yeah,
cool.
good
dude.
times, good friends, good hangs. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I would have been able to make it down there. I saw that and I was, had some serious FOMO. It looked like it was a blast.
Oh yeah.
But we got to get down to New Orleans more.
We should
go down to the bakery. Maybe film a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Hang out and. But yeah, man, it was a pretty chill week. I'm looking forward to Hub Fest. I'm looking forward to Downtown Crawfish Jam coming up.
Oh man,
that's
all
gonna
these
be,
things. There's so many events.
It's a ton.
So many events. Like we had Homegrown this past weekend.
Right.
There was also an art market.
Mm-hmm.
The farmers market starts up as this comes out.
They're going full tilt.
Hey, farmers market's back.
Unrestricted farmers market. Farmers gone wild.
Yeah, of course. Hub Fest. And then that rolls right into Live at 5.
Yes.
I mean, shoot, let's get it going,
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Allison Neville's going to be busy.
Yep.
She's about to be busy.
Live at 5. We'll be back.
Yeah, man. I'm excited about that. Excited to see the lineup, too. They always do a good job booking bands. And, yeah, man, beers outside. That's my jam, man.
Let's go.
I feel like if you're having beer outside, there's so much more so much more of your life just taken care of that you should feel very fortunate.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this full circle. One of the greatest things about it all is it all comes back to community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
live in a great community, get to enjoy fellowship and food vendors outside, like you said, maybe a couple drinks or something and hanging out, talking to your friends, enjoying some music, like maybe T-Bone Pruitt's up there, who knows. Good times to be had, Town Square Park.
For sure. Well, we want to keep an eye on that, all those events coming up so we don't miss them. Also, Farm to Fork, we're going to be at the Farm to Fork event, emceeing and being our normal goofy selves. And we might have a couple of live shows to announce soon. We're very close.
On the horizon.
So really excited.
You heard it here first. Hardy Street Boys Live.
Dude, and then that would be cool, too, to where you have the episode. You go and do the live show, but that would also be the episode for that week.
Exactly.
So we would, you could, like, if nothing else, if you don't even think it's funny, just come watch us stress out about whether the cameras are still recording.
Yeah.
That in itself.
In a live environment.
in a very, yeah. Dude, it'd be wild, man. So super excited about all that stuff coming up this spring. And I'm also very excited about Chef Katie Dixon.
Yes. I can't wait to have her on. So, like, let's just bring her in.
Yeah, let's do it. So after this, Chef Katie Dixon.
Drew.
Yes.
You see my shirt.
I do.
You know who I rep.
Yes.
The United States
of America.
Soccer. They've got a couple games left for the World Cup qualifying.
Yes, we better qualify.
So, but do you know where the best place to watch soccer in Hattiesburg is?
I know, of course, but I want you to tell me so I don't have to guess.
It's the Keg and Barrel.
Duh.
Yeah, because they're the American Outlaws chapter pub.
Yeah, which that means that if there's a USA game on, men or women's, they have to have it on by law.
Is it by law?
By law.
Well,
I think the Congress can get involved.
Uh-oh.
If they don't abide.
USA plays Mexico. They got to play against Panama. Got some friends actually going to that game. But then they're also playing Costa Rica. It's like it's getting down to the wire. If we let people know that they can come watch U.S. soccer games and check out the American Outlaws on Facebook.
Yeah, and come high five us.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, cool.
I'm into that.
All right, let's tell them.
So we're going to the Keg?
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
Right now?
Well,
we're filming.
I mean.
Well, let's just go now.
Okay.
Got it.
Katie Dixon, what you fixin'? Katie Dixon. Katie Dixon, what you fixin'? Katie Dixon. You make that food, and you bring such a positive attitude. Katie Dixon, what you fixin'? Katie Dixon, what you fixin'?
I like it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
Dude, you're getting you're getting real good at this.
It made me feel really cool.
Thank you.
That's what you were trying to do, mission accomplished.
Well, Chef Katie Dixon, what are you fixing?
Tonight, nothing for you guys.
Dang it. We thought the song would work, but it's fine. No, we're so excited to have you. We know you're super busy, and you have a lot of irons in the fire. What's it like being, a chef that is seriously just so busy. Like, you were killing it right now. What's it like to be Chef Katie Dixon?
What's it like? A lot of times I think people would think I'm crazy if they followed me around in a day. I definitely am busy, but I'm doing what I love. And I think a lot of times when you're doing what you love, the busy doesn't seem so busy, and the busy is so much fun that you're enjoying it every day, day in, day out, that it makes it worth it. The days are long, especially right now with opening my last restaurant. So it's intense, but my heart is to create a change in the South, and I'm getting to live that out. So I feel very blessed.
Man, that's awesome. That's really awesome. What's the latest location you open? This is at Crossgate Family Fitness. Where is this?
This is in Slidell, Louisiana. When I first got the phone call, like, Katie, I want you to come see this space and meet the owners of this facility, I was just like, I am only doing this out of a favor. I'm just going to go meet them and I'm going to go home, but I'll go. And I literally, the whole way down to Slidell, I was like, oh God, like, if this is something I'm supposed to do, just make the doors swing so wide open that I know I'm supposed to walk through it, or just please just let it be like, Katie, no. And I was like, but I know it's going to be a no. Like, I don't have the time. I cannot do this. And I'll walk in, the owner and I cry together, we hug, like, it was like a big family. I was like, oh God, I'm supposed to do this. So it was just something I couldn't turn down. So that was mid-December. They wanted me to take over their meal prep business starting January 1st, open March 1st, and here we are. I opened March 14th, so pretty close to schedule. And last Monday was my first day there.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like fresh. This is like breaking news.
It's breaking news. And, to see the excitement of people walking in and seeing something new and fresh and healthy as an option there is just, it's been really nourishing to my soul. Like, I get a lot out of seeing people really enjoy the food that I create. And the staff takes such pride in what we're offering. So, I mean, we have a long way to go. It's not finished. I don't even have my sign up. Well, we got a little like kind of temporary sign up, but it's moving in the right direction. We started.
Right. Well, and that's the hardest thing to do is just start anything. So how did you get started cooking? And then also, there's lots of people that cook, right? I mean, I've cooked meals before, but how did you get into like wanting to be a chef and then also wanting to cook healthy food, especially in the South? Like why is that important to you?
Well, I never thought in a million years, like, if you would have asked me growing up, what are you going to be when you grow up? I never said a chef. Like, I thought I was going to be a medical doctor, which was like boring, like, for me. Like, I just wanted to do it because I thought it made a lot of money and I wanted to be able to support my family. Like, so I was like, yeah, I want to be a doctor.
Right.
And then I decided I wanted to do physical therapy. And then I was actually Miss Hospitality for the state of Mississippi. And after serving that year, I was like, I want to work with people. Like, I want to do like something way different than what I've been majoring in biochem at Mississippi College. So I told my parents, they were like, cool, whatever makes you happy. So I went into business marketing, nutrition, and did pharmaceutical sales for a while. Then I got into the kitchen stuff. But my biggest influence in the culinary world is my grandmother. My grandparents would go visit them every weekend. They had a farm. Everything was fresh, from the vegetables from the garden to like dairy milk. They had a dairy farm, the eggs, everything. So it wasn't just like the cooking. It was the time in the kitchen with my grandmother, and it was more about what she served. She was serving like love on a platter. And I loved seeing the excitement on my grandfather's face, just the sense of like community within our own family that it brought, like as we were bringing friends and cousins and relatives into the table. It was just more about the people than it was about the food, but the food was the thing that brought us all there. So that's what, inspired my love for cooking. I always loved it. I loved food, but I didn't know that that's what I was going to end up doing.
Right. I mean, we've talked to a fair amount of people now, and that seems to be the common thread is like whatever they end up doing, it was because of other people or the people they got to be around because of that. So that's something like you can tell that you take a great deal of care. Do you take pride in, I guess, preparing food the same way your grandmother did? Is that like, have you trained for this too? Or is this just like, it's just part of who you are?
It's just part of who I am. My grandmother, more of like the love that she had to be in the kitchen and to serve others. I took that from her. Of course, the Southern roots of just like family being around a table, friends being around a table. But as far as her cooking and my cooking style, completely different. I literally can remember like my grandmother's hands being in the flour, just kneading, making homemade biscuits and drizzling, or not drizzling, dipping them basically in, maple syrup. She cooked from the heart. But as far as the way I cook, different things along my path influenced me and why I love healthy eating. And so we don't really cook the same way. She followed a recipe. She wrote recipe cards out. I don't follow recipes. Writing a cookbook was the hardest thing I ever did. So I kind of go off of instinct. In the kitchen, I was literally talking to someone the other day about imposter syndrome and how a lot of times, I've not been to culinary school. I'm 100% self-taught. And even after competing on MasterChef, Gordon Ramsay pulled me aside and he was like, Katie, don't go to culinary school. And I was like, really? I feel like I should. And he was like, no. He was like, you're going to lose this weird ability you have to mix foods that aren't supposed to mix together. You're going to lose that because you're going to be told this doesn't work, this doesn't work. These things do work. And everything that you do isn't supposed to work, but it does. And so I decided not to go to culinary school. I mean, of course, I dig in and follow some of my favorite culinary, idols, I guess you would call them, that I look up to. And, I love to go to cooking classes in different parts of the world. But as far as going to culinary school, I've never done it.
Well, and you've seen that a lot more now where people are just kind of following their passions. And that's enough if you're going to put in the work.
Yeah.
I do feel like it's kind of time to get away from like, oh, do you have a degree in this?
Yeah.
Well, then that's what you need to be doing. I think that's what actually kind of burns a lot of people out, So that's really cool that you're doing that. What was it like to be on MasterChef and to get to be around somebody like a Gordon Ramsay, like day in, day out? What was that experience like on TV that much? That's got to be just bizarre.
Absolutely. It still shocks me when I think back about actually being on the show and having the opportunity to cook in a kitchen with Gordon Ramsay for 8 straight weeks, day in, day out, 8 to 10 hours a day in the kitchen with him. And what a cool opportunity. I still am blown away by the opportunity. I'm like, if you think about it, there's 20 of us a year that get that opportunity. And the longer you stay in the competition, the longer you get to cook beside him. And, a lot of people come into the kitchen, a lot of people in the culinary world, think they know everything. I don't mean that offensive to anyone, but, there's this personality that comes with the confidence in the kitchen. And I went in like, oh my God, it's Gordon Ramsay and it's all these guest chefs coming. I just want to learn, what an opportunity. And so I went in of the attitude, I know I'm not going to be perfect, but as long as I'm learning and I can come back and teach those around me, what I've learned and the experience this has been, I want to enjoy every minute. I don't want to put the pressure of myself, on myself to feel like I have to be perfect because these are things I shouldn't know how to do. I'm not Gordon Ramsay, but I'm going to learn from him.
Yeah. Well, and then to learn on camera too.
Yeah.
We do this and it's with a camera on, it's you feel a little bit different, but that's a totally different level.
Yeah, the first couple of weeks it was a lot. It felt like someone was invading your space because there was 50 crewmen all with cameras right in your face as you're cooking and trying to ask you questions, and you're like, I have 60 minutes to cook this, leave me alone. You can't say that. You have to talk and cook and show personality and our frustration. A lot of times it was, or oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to work through this. You have to be okay with people seeing failure, on TV. And a lot of times I think that's one of the hardest things, in a place of work. You don't want to show the bad side. And when you're exposed right there in front of everyone, that was one thing. You just had to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Right. And that was probably the biggest learning point for me, because I think a lot of times we want to come off as we know it all. And I think when I realized I don't know everything I need to know here, but I'm going to push through and that's okay, is when I just felt this I felt relaxed.
Well, and it's tough when things aren't in their place.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be in its place for me to feel confident and to feel people want to be in control of their own lives, and that's got to feel like you're just on a runaway train. How did you take that experience though and then apply it to your businesses here in the South? Because that's got to be, I tell you what, you had to be motivated, right, coming back after that experience, right?
Absolutely. And it was one of those things where I was like, it's now or never. I don't know how to be, I've never ran a restaurant, but I'm going to open a cafe here in Hattiesburg. And I'm going to do what I love. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, I've done what my heart loves. I don't want to open something just because my name is out there right now just to make money. I would have been miserable. So I was like, I'm going to do what I'm passionate about, and that's healthy cooking. On the show, after maybe the 3rd episode, the producers came to me and they were like, Katie, we want you to be the Southern chef. Quit all the healthy talk. We're not going to air you if you talk healthy again. And I was devastated. I was like, you brought me on the show knowing I'm a healthy chef from Mississippi, but they wanted me to be a true Southern belle, a Southern chef. And I had that moment where I was like, I could feel it in my heart. I was like, I'm not going to win the show doing what I'm passionate about, but I'm going to stay true to me, and I'll never regret that. And then once the show was over, I left final, top 6. And, I left knowing I'd given it my best shot, and I was staying true to Katie. And from that, I picked up a contract with Neiman Marcus as one of their ambassadors on promoting, being your true self. Gordon Ramsay signed I was under contract with him for 2 years, in addition to my MasterChef contract, just like Team Ramsay Studios. And so he saw something in me because I stayed true to myself. Because a lot of times that you get on the shows and you conform. So I think the thing I was most proud of wasn't my culinary skills in the kitchen. It was that I stayed true to me, and I think that paid dividends in the end. Yeah.
Why is health important, especially with Southern cuisine? Because they're trying to fit you into this box, right? And saying you have to cook a certain way because of they think a certain region has to eat a certain way. Why is healthy food important, and why is it healthy here, or why is it important here?
To me, the state of Mississippi, we're known as the hospitality state. The people here are what make this place so special. Also here, we're one of the most obese states in the country. And with that, it gets hot here in the summer. People want to sit inside. They don't want to move. And with my personal training background, I like seeing people feeling good. And I don't think a lot of people in the South, as happy as they are, I don't think they've ever experienced what feeling good feels like. And once you do, you never go back. And if I can help change one person, much less 2, 3, 4, 5 people in the way they feel, and then the way they operate in their everyday lives, and the energy they have, and the good sleep that they get, then I'm doing a job well done. And so for me, because I do know that change, I had a very unhealthy relationship with food for a very long time. And the difference that once I caught on to how to fuel my body instead of mine was restricting myself, I was like, wow, this is like life-changing. And I didn't want to keep that inside. I wanted to share it. So for the people that are the most special people in the world to me right here in the South, my heart is to help them feel their best.
That's awesome. I got to play drums on an episode of Top Chef with Questlove.
Yeah.
And it was crazy to see how it was real, but it was just crazy to see like how much goes into a production like that. And it was just, I don't know. So you've been on MasterChef, and then you've also been on the Food Network Star.
Yes.
Right? So what was the biggest difference between those two shows? And then what was more intense, maybe?
Well, I have to say, Gordon Ramsay is much cooler than Bobby Flay.
Oh,
for the record.
Oh, Chef Beef.
Giada is absolutely beautiful and magical, and I could stare at her all day. She was wonderful, sassy, but adorable. It was just a different experience. Everyone on MasterChef had been to culinary school except for me. Everyone on Food Network Star. Okay. They all owned restaurants. I was against, restaurant owners in New York City that had multiple locations that were paying more in rent a month than I probably make in a year at Birdhouse. Like, you're talking about like some real deal chefs. Actually, the guy that won, one of my dear friends, Christian Pastroni, like Italian restaurants in New York, just everywhere.
Yeah.
But you were dealing with restaurant owners that also had huge personalities. On MasterChef, you had like quirky, you had quiet, you had the school teacher, you had, the young guy that passes out, you had a World Series of Poker winner. Yeah. They were all at-home chefs. Food Network Star was a lot different, like culinary backgrounds, very diverse culinary backgrounds.
Right.
Very business-like people, very mature, but also huge personalities, because whoever wins is going to have their own show. And they wanted to see someone that could actually host a show that the viewers would want to watch. So it was equal culinary as it was personality, right, which I think fits me a little better, especially with, what I'm passionate about. Healthy cooking is such a niche market. But also, like, I don't mind being in front of the camera or, having a microphone in front of me. So it was a mixture of the two.
You're obviously a natural.
Yeah. Well, I think just sometimes if you can be comfortable being yourself, and if you screw up, you screw up, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, just being okay with the mistakes, for sure. Actually, like, a lot of times the mistakes are more entertaining than what you had planned. So
I'll never forget, on Food Network Star, there was actually one competitor, Manny, who was a firefighter from New York, that was on Master Chef with me, and he was also on Food Network Star with me. We were the only 2 competitors that have ever been on both shows at the same time, but also there's only one other competitor, Jay Ducote, that has been on both shows as well. So there's 3 of us out there. Jay Ducote, great guy from Louisiana. Love him. He has government tacos, by the way. Little plug for him.
Yeah.
It's awesome stuff. It was a wonderful experience. I have to say, Master Chef, I think, formed me more and put me in the direction that I definitely needed in the culinary world and gave me the confidence to step out and just do it. I have lifelong friends from Food Network Star. So just different experiences, but there's nothing like being in the kitchen with Gordon Ramsay. Nothing.
Yeah, I imagine he's like the GOAT, right?
He is. He is.
Yeah, I love his stuff. I mean, I watched him doing Kitchen Nightmares, and I just, he gets this kind of like reputation of being, just like too tough sometimes, but it's like not everything he's saying is real. It's like,
absolutely.
It's like I remember him saying something like, "You're supposed to throw food out."
Yeah,
like you should throw food out. You never. Why is all this food frozen? I remember just going like, just one little show like that where I never thought of frozen food being a bad thing.
Yeah,
and then just hearing something like that, going, "Wow, that's actually healthy," or starting to think in more of a healthy way, right? Because nutrition is not talked about enough.
No. And
you can't outwork, as a trainer, you can't out-train a bad diet,
exactly.
Right? I've always heard it's like 70-30, where exercise is about 30%, but your diet is 70%. What at Birdhouse, like what is your number one healthiest thing that you're on your menu, right? And what's the inspiration behind the menu at your restaurants?
Okay. Well, I will say this. So at my location in Slidell, I met with one of the Ochsner's Health Eat Fit program coordinators last week, and she told me I was the first restaurant that has ever had every single menu item be Eat Fit approved. And so there is nothing on my menu that I wouldn't put in my own body, other than the fact I don't eat. I'm a plant-based eater now, so I will taste all the meats that I have, but I'm pretty much a plant-based eater. Or I am a plant-based eater.
Yeah.
But I can't say I'm like vegetarian because I go on these, competitions and judge food competition where I'm judging pork and beef and everything. So I do taste it. I do try the food I cook. But in my everyday life, I'm a plant-based eater. But yeah, so I was super excited about that. I look for just nothing that's refined, no added sugar ever. Bottom line, I think sugar is just, in general, like killing Americans. Just the amounts that we put in our body that we don't even realize we are, and where they're hidden in all different, ingredients,
right?
And recipes. I have the open kitchen so people can actually see what I'm doing and making. At Birdhouse, because I want them to realize you can do this at home too. This isn't something I just want to keep a secret. I want you to realize this isn't complicated. I have a salad that's called the Keep It Simple Stupid salad, and it's like healthy eating doesn't have to be complicated.
Right.
Just eat real food. So every menu item, I mean, of course, like the acai bowls are super popular, especially with Instagram, and they're pretty, and all the high school and college kids want to come in and take pictures. So they're a big seller, but a lot of our homemade soup, sandwiches, salad combos, people come in and love those. So
yeah, it's all healthy.
It's all healthy.
Yeah.
And as Gordon Ramsay would say, it's all rabbit food.
It's all. That's like what was the biggest transition for you when you went to plant-based? Because I would like to do it, but I just don't know if I can make the jump.
Well, back, I was on MasterChef. It's been 6 years ago now. And Gordon, when I signed the contract with him, he introduced me to his trainer. And his trainer was a pro soccer player. And he wanted us to do a show together. He was vegan for like 15 years, and he was vegan before that was popular. And so we started doing some training sessions together. His name's Nikki Hollander. He lives in another country now. He doesn't live in California anymore. But he was like, oh, no, you can be powerful and strong and compete and be an athlete and be a plant-based eater. And I'm like, I don't know about this. Because, I was the type, like, I had 25 grams of protein with every meal, and, like, I was very macro-specific. And I was like, I'm going to get fat, or I'm going to be, like, not in the shape that I want to be in if I'm just eating plants and I'm not eating my protein. And it's really just, like, reteaching your brain to eat different foods. There's, and, I've never felt better in my life, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I have more energy. I sleep better. And I think different people handle foods differently, so I don't think it's for everyone, but it's definitely for me.
I believe it. And that's what I've heard too. You know, you say like how do you get strong like an ox without eating meat? Well, oxen don't eat.
Yep.
Oxen don't eat meat.
Yep.
So I mean, there you go. But this is so awesome. I want to take a short little break,
Okay.
and then we're gonna hear about your new show coming up, and I want to hear about your cookbook as well.
Perfect.
So after this, more Chef Katie Dixon.
Texting and driving, I'm straight vibing. I don't really care if you are lying. Isn't that sad that I don't seem to care? Riding in the lunchbox, swerving everywhere. Looking pretty obvious, my eyes straight down. You can see the top of my head, that is my crown. If you see me like this on streets around town, I deserve only one emoji, that's a frown.
Looking at my phone, I'm trying to read a text. Whoa, almost hit that forward flex. The message Shorty sent me, it's got me in a hex. Man, these roads have caused mad wrecks. I need to focus up and keep my eyes on the road. I really can't drive when I'm in text mode. We want you to be safe, that's why we wrote this ode, so we can all make it to the next episode.
Hey, don't text and drive, okay? It's not cool, man. Quit doing that. You are not receiving an emergency text message. It does not exist.
Yeah, don't text and drive. You know, just drive like normal and don't text while you're doing it.
This is so much fun.
It is.
Just getting to talk, like, you were talking about what you follow some people that you were on Food Network Star Show with.
Exactly. Christian, the guy who won the show.
He's cool.
He's a big Italian, and you know, he's a goofball. So yeah, right up my alley.
It's so cool. Well, it's just so cool to like. The whole point of this show is to show that Hattiesburg has some really cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you're a very large part of that, you know, and it's so cool to actually sit down and talk about things like that. So that's on a national level. You actually have this is Farm to Table, a new show on WDAM.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, every Monday on noonday, I do a little show just teaching, you know, all of us in the South how to use farm fresh ingredients in recipes that are easy and affordable that you can hop in the kitchen and make. And so it's been fun. Like it's fun for me to get to show that our produce right here in the state of Mississippi, you know, our meats right here that you can find in the state of Mississippi are really good quality and some of the best you can find, and how you can utilize what's right here around us. I mean, farmers market days are like some of my most favorite days. And I think probably because I grew up with my grandfather being a farmer, and like I just have such an appreciation for what they do. And if they didn't do what they do, I couldn't do what I do. So getting to kind of represent the farmers and the kitchen side with this new little show has been fun.
Top 3 favorite Mississippi farms, go.
Don't make me do that.
No, I was kidding. I was kidding.
I'm
No, I was
like,
kidding. Well, no, we actually got to do the Flato show at the kitchen table, and we met the Stonington Farms.
Yes,
You
they're
know,
awesome.
Had some of their meat, and we're just going like, this is insane. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's so good. So what's it like having your own show just for cooking? Like, does that feel like something that is work, or is it just kind of your passion? Because that's one of those things too, where like you're very into cooking. You have a personality. You're made for camera, but it does feel like that would also be like kind of a grind. How do you look at something like that when you have so many other irons in the fire?
I think it's fun for me, and I kind of view it as a challenge, especially over the past couple of weeks with opening in the new restaurant. And I literally, in the past 3 weeks, I catered a bachelorette party in Rosemary Beach.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there for Friday, Saturday, Sunday catering. I left the food for Sunday with them, drove straight back to Hattiesburg for an engagement party at Canebrake that I catered on Saturday night. So there wasn't a flight to make it to Dallas in time to do an event that I was doing all the food for in Dallas. So I drove to Dallas, did the event on Monday night. I spoke on Wednesday on mental health with an amazing speaker, and then drove back to then training my staff Thursday in Slidell, training my staff Friday in Slidell, Saturday in Slidell, and opening on Monday of last week. And so within that, I had to do 2 days of filming that we filmed 4 episodes. So I literally like walk in the cafe and I'm like, what do I have? This is what we're going to make. Okay, I can do 4 today. Perfect. And so it's like, the Lord has blessed me with the ability to be able to do that. And I know it's a gift. Mm-hmm. And so it's fun for me. Right. And it's fun for me too, because I want people to see that like being in the kitchen doesn't have to be complicated. Mm-hmm. You can have fresh ingredients and you can create something with it. It can be tasty and it can be pretty.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. You're super busy and you're like a super mom. I want to say that. Like, how do you balance it all? And I think I asked you earlier, do you have a personal assistant to keep you on track with all these meetings and all these things?
You know, I feel like a crazy mom most days, and my kids would probably agree, but I like to be present for everything they do. I like to be the one that picks them up and drops them off at school as much as possible. I like to be at their games. Stevie now plays competitive volleyball on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, which brings a whole nother dynamic to it. But, you know, I'm blessed to have an incredible staff at all locations. If it weren't for the team around me, I could not do what I do. You know, I have managers at all locations that are top notch. They care, they love my vision, and they're like sisters to me. And that's just the truth. I could not do what I do without them. My girls are super adaptable, and they've been that way since the day they were born because they didn't really have enough choice. So, you know, I'm not the first one in car line. I'm usually 15 minutes late picking them up.
Oh, wow.
But they get it. And I think for them, like, they enjoy seeing me do what I love, and they see the work that I put in, and so they respect that. As far as a personal assistant, I can now proudly say, as of Sunday, I hired my first personal assistant.
Oh, wow.
So my life is going to change, I think, for the better in all areas. It's hard to let go of control sometimes. It's hard to say, like, here's my mess. I can deal with my mess of my schedule, but you deal with it, or you go through all this and figure it out. But yeah, she's going to do all my travel, all my scheduling, all my events. She's going to, you know, be my point of reference for anyone wanting to schedule anything with me. She's going to have all my staff information, all my manager information. You know, she's just going to do a lot. She's going to order all my merchandise that I've had on my list to order for like years.
That's huge.
Yeah. I feel like you've earned an assistant, though, with all those. Once you can only have so many things going on in one life before you have to like lean on other people. You feel like you have like a strong network where you can trust people around you and lean on them when you need to.
100%. Like, I couldn't do it without them. And I think early on, when I first opened the birdhouse, I didn't trust anyone else. I was like, I'll do this myself or die, you know? Like, and it literally started wearing me down. Like, I was like, I have to trust the process. I have to trust that they can do what they say they can do, even if it's not 100%. Exactly the way I would do it. And I have to instill in them, and I have to be a good teacher. So I started really doing my homework on how to become a really good teacher. Because if I could teach them effectively, then they would learn and they would grow. And I also, with all my staff, when I first hire them, I'm like, what are your dreams? What do you want to become? What do you want to do? How can I help you? And when they see that I'm actually taking time to invest in them and their dreams, like one girl she was an art student. She wanted to, you know, design stuff. So I'm like, hey, why don't you teach a summer camp and make you some extra money at the birdhouse, and we'll teach kids some art stuff. We'll do some tie-dyeing with vegetables juice. You know, so we tied in two things. So I think sometimes it's like actually finding the strengths of your employees, and in doing that, you build a confidence with them, and they respect you in just a way that's you just can't trade it for anything. As well as, I have to say, I employ people from the ARC, and those staff members are the most amazing, funny. Just they bring life to the party, and they make everyone better. Yeah. And so I think that was probably one of the best decisions I ever did.
Yeah, that's very admirable. I feel like it's harder to trust people. Like, even though you might be, you know, especially when you talk about first starting out, there's like some glory in doing it all yourself. You know, and like, I'm doing this all myself. No one's helping me. But the reality is people are helping, and it's just hard to like open up. I mean, for me personally, it's hard to open up and trust anybody. Yeah. Right. And then you said you talk about mental health. So what kind of talk were you giving on mental health? Because I find this really interesting too, because we've talked about this on the show. We had Michelle from Freedom Pharmacy on.
Yeah.
We talked about.
I love her.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
And we ended up talking about, I was on medication forever and got off of it. And I think it's really interesting getting to talk about, that's becoming more normal, right? There's less of a stigma. So are you okay talking about your experience with that?
And Mrs. Doubtfire, the actor, was
Robin
Williams. So last week when I was in Dallas, I actually spoke with his son in front of over 1,000 people on mental health. And that was eye-opening. And my goodness, he's a genius like his dad. And he was so inspiring because he was so vulnerable with his story. And basically, I was in Dallas at Christmas doing a cookbook signing, and the event that I was part of was a women's event that donated certain proceeds to 4 different charities. And so I was their actual guest speaker that day for their luncheon. And the guy from this particular mental health awareness charity fundraiser came to buy a cookbook for his wife at the end. And I said, I noticed you were one of the ones that stood up, that some of the proceeds were going to. What does your charity do? And he told me, and I just broke down crying. And I'm very emotional. I cry like singing a song at church. I cry in a movie that's not sad. Like I just carry my heart on my sleeve. And I had my first chef at the Birdhouse Cafe that lost her battle with mental health. And since then, it has, she was doing what she loved. She'd gotten a job in New York. She'd filmed Chopped. She was just an amazing human. Taylor was her name. And since then, I was really trying to find a way to get plugged in and how I could help. Because in the restaurant industry, we see a lot of people that suffer with mental health issues. And it just kind of got laid in front of me. And that's how I connected back with them, and then was able to speak with Robin Williams' son. And just like the connections all just kind of interplay. But for me, I was at my lowest a year and a half in after opening the Birdhouse. And I would have never opened up at the time to anyone about it. But, you know, I played basketball in college. Like athletics has been a huge part of my life. Personal training I did for a long time. That's actually how I ended up getting into the kitchen, was through, I saw that most of my clients were spending all this money on a trainer and they wouldn't eat right. And so I was like, let me make you a meal. This is the kind of food you need to eat. And that grew to like 100 people stopping at my house to pick up food. And I was like, oh, I got to get in like a commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how all that came about. But, you know, for me, I wasn't exercising for the first time in my life. I didn't have time. I was working late nights. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't nourishing my own body. I was for everyone else. And I just was in an unhealthy place for Katie, the most unhealthy place I'd ever been in, ever. And I just had to say, you know what? I've got to hand some stuff off. I've got to take care of Katie for a while. And if you would have ever told me a year and a half before that I would have ever struggled with, you know, being sad sometimes, or, you know, like just wanting to stay in the bed sometimes because I was absolutely exhausted and I just didn't feel like myself. Like I experienced that. And so from that, and then from the chef that I had that actually lost her battle to, you know, the mental health, it just, I don't know, it's real to me. And I feel like it's something that's not talked about enough. And I want people to realize that it's okay to talk about it, especially those in high school. I don't want it to seem like it's something that you're like, you've got a dirty germ. I think it's something that should be normalized a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think it's important that you're talking about it, because while things externally look great, while you got a new business a year and a half in, like, well, what you upset for? And I still get the same thing where I'm going, no, I'm like bummed out. I'm like, well, why are you bummed out? Things are going great. I'm like, that's the point. That's why I'm telling you, because it's a big deal and it's not going to make sense, you know? And I think it's important that people continue to talk about that. And I commend you for making that part of your platform. Last thing, you have a cookbook.
I do.
You said it was the hardest thing to do.
It was.
I believe you. I don't want to write a book at all, but like, how do you get into writing a cookbook? And be honest, how stressful was that?
You know, I worked on it for about 3 years. I'm gonna be honest. I wrote this like super fancy cookbook. My photographer and friend, and the person who helped me publish this cookbook, Kate Dearman, wonderful, talented friend of mine. We drove to Oxford, Mississippi to get away from Hattiesburg because I get stopped a million places and I can never just focus on one thing. So we went to a friend's house in Oxford, and the night before we were going to shoot everything that weekend, I said, Kate, I've got an idea. I was like, am I crazy? And I was like, I don't want to use all this I've worked on for 3 years. She was like, what? And I was like, I want to be able to walk into a regular grocery store in Mississippi and buy ingredients that people can actually easily assess, they can afford, and create something. And she was like, why not? So went in, I had like 3 shopping carts, like piled full of groceries, most expensive shopping trip I've ever been on, unloaded all the groceries, and I just started creating. And I was like, I want people to see, my heart is to help people learn to eat healthier. And that's where I started. Like I just, in a little Winn-Dixie grocery store in Oxford, Mississippi, went grocery shopping and created some meals. Yeah. So I just wrote as I created. But the actual part that's the hardest to me is like, I'm like, well, a tomato tastes different at different times of the year. So like sometimes you need to add something else to it because it's not as sweet. But how do I tell my readers, like, well, if it's not such a sweet tomato because you're getting it and it's not quite right, what do you add to it? So It's just all that kind of comes into play. So I think at the end it's like, okay, Katie, just be as detailed as you can. Get it on the paper. You're creating something good. Just do it. And I think like believing in yourself, like, hey, somebody's going to want to pick this up and read it. I'm like, why would they want to read my cookbook? So, you start doing that self-doubt. Like, why am I creating something that I'm asking people to like purchase? But in the end, people love it. I went on a book tour. The connection I had with Neiman Marcus set me on one during COVID of all things. And I was getting to do book signings, and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'm blessed.
Yeah, you talk about the imposter syndrome. Like, you kind of become a champion of that several times. It's what it sounds like. When you level up, right?
Level up. And if you're afraid, like, identify with what you're afraid of. Because usually it's like you're afraid of something that's so silly. And it's like, okay, so if that happens, so what? But if I don't try this, I'm never going to become my best and reach my potential. So if someone laughs at you, okay, you're doing what you enjoy. Like, if you fail, get back up, try again.
Yeah.
I've burnt so many brownies in the oven at the cafe. Like, do it again. It's not going to kill you. So if anything, just go for it. Don't be afraid. Don't let fear stop you in your tracks.
Man, that's awesome. I don't care about the show anymore at all. I needed that. That was great. Like, you're such a valuable asset to the Pine Belt. We're so happy that you're here in Hattiesburg. We're so happy that you took the time to sit with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I like watching your shows, and thank you to the Pine Belt for being so supportive of me. Like, like the Pine Belt is truly like been amazing in every way.
It's a pretty cool place.
It is a cool place.
We like it. So, yeah, you can follow. You don't need us to tell you. You can follow Chef Katie Dixon on all social media platforms. It's all link in the description below. Jamie, play us out.
Do we get a cool song at the end?
Yes,
Woo!
we get two. Jamie's a 2-for-1 kind of guy.
What she fixin' now? Katie Dixon, what you fixin'? You bring such a positive attitude, and you make some delicious food. And all the things that
Get up there, Jamie. Get up there.
the end of the show, message.
Yeah. Dude, so good, man.